Today I'm gonna attempt something new and I'm gonna try to bring you a 4 champion guide in one video. Basically because I think they are so tied together and they work and it makes so much sense showing them together that it wouldn't make sense having 4 separate videos, one for every single turtle. Let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another raid video. In this case we're going to be talking about the 4 new champions from this new collaboration with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're going to be looking at all 4 of them, all 4 playing together, all gear with masteries, with blessing, with everything in the game, and in this case in the test server because I don't have any yet because we haven't been able to claim the first one yet. So that said, let's have a look at them 4 quickly because there is quite a lot of things to see because they are very powerful. Let's start first of all with Michelangelo. I decided to put them all with the 5 stars ascension. Normally I don't show them with the 5 stars ascension or even 6 stars ascension, mainly because it can fit all sorts of players, more early game or mid game. But in this case, because we're gonna get the 5th star of Michelangelo for free, we have Donatello's fusion and we're also gonna have some events to get his soul. And also I thought, since I'm putting 2 of them, I'm gonna just put them all together and we're gonna see them close to how is the maximum power they have. So let's quickly just recap on the champion's skills. This is Michelangelo, it's an attack-based champion and it's a champion that is able to apply debuffs. We have 2 over here and we have 2 more over here, which means we're gonna need accuracy to land it and we're also gonna need damage, and in this case it's attack-based champion and all his skills scale of attack. So we're gonna need attack, crit damage, crit rate, speed, and also accuracy in order to be able to land those debuffs. So it's not the best set, but it's a set that is very versatile for a lot of occasions. It's very versatile for a lot of scenarios, and in terms of stat, it's pretty solid. 7,500, 263 speed, enough crit rate, maybe slightly too short on crit damage, but because we needed accuracy. So maybe we could even swap these 2, put some more crit damage would be another option. You're gonna see exactly how they work, but because they're so powerful all of them together, it doesn't really matter so much every single one individually, and is more aimed to a kind of dungeon type of playstyle. If we would want to put them all 4 together on arena, then everyone needs to be maybe some sort of stone skin or something like that to compensate some lags on team. We'll see that when we get to the arena, but basically damage dealer, crit damage, attack, speed and attack, more crit damage, and in terms of stats you can see it here. In terms of mastery, some pretty simple, looking for damage here and accuracy on this side. Fully booked in terms of blessing Nature's Wrath, basically because it makes sense. We're playing debuffs, so Nature's Wrath is gonna increase the damage inflicted by this champion based on every debuff it's been placing, so it's gonna be increasing its own damage. And also in terms of Relic, Erratic Coronet, same reason. The more debuffs, the more damage. So this would be the first one. The second one is Donatello. I mean, in terms of skills, I think you know the skills. Is couple of AoE hits, this one is able to spread, decrease defense is pretty solid, stun will be controlling one enemy, and on A1, this one. But the key of all the turtles, and the reason I'm doing them a video together, is because we have this skill that is pretty powerful, and it says whenever Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael, I mean any of the turtles, attacks, this champion joins in that attack, and this applies for any attack. Either if it's an A1, it's an A2, if it's an A3, and that equates, that makes to a crazy stupid amount of damage every time any single turtle hits. So this is Michelangelo. Let's go on the second one, which is Donatello. It's the champion that is going to be the fusion for this month. So easy, more easy than hard. We can get Michelangelo, which is free, and Donatello, which is not the hardest fusion, so we could get pretty easily 2 of them. If we're lucky and we manage to get a 3rd turtle, that's when things start getting interesting, because that will make already a team of 3, that's a lot of attacks, and if that 3rd turtle is Leonardo, which is the leader of the turtles, is the most powerful one of all of them, because of one skill that we'll see, then the amount of damage we're going to start doing to things scales by a lot. So long story short, Donatello, support type of champion, is the fusion. Is this a fusion showcase? Kind of, because we're going to see him in action, but also it makes sense showing them together. The main skill, the main important skills here are the A3 that removes all the debuffs, continuous heal strengthen, also fills the turn meter. It's a very similar skill to Grand Oak Padraig. Is a very similar type of champion. Again, fills turn meter, remove debuffs, increases speed. In this case here we have an AoE attack, a continuous heal, and chance to decrease cooldown. And Donatello, which is the fusion, is an even better version of that, because we're going to be able to decrease 2 turns the cooldown of all skills from all allies, which is very, very powerful, on top of an AoE hit, which means AoE attack by all the rest of the turtles, and increases speed over here. And on the A1 we're going to be healing and also instantly activating continuous heal. So because we're applying quite a lot of buffs, the set that makes more sense to gear him on is protection. We need a lot of HP, we need a lot of defense, we need a lot of speed, we need a lot of resistance, and all in all it's a very solid champion for pretty much all kinds of content, with the rest of the turtles or without turtles. So it's a very solid champion, hence a very recommended fusion. Then I've put Perch Shadow, another option that would be very viable, very useful, because he's able to do both things, will be increasing turn meter and heals. So Journal of Necrotos will be a powerful one. In this case, Perch Shadow works pretty good, because we're going to be able to maybe get extra turns. Extra turns mean lowering cooldowns here, and lowering cooldowns here means lowering cooldowns of all the rest of the allies. So Perch Shadow is a pretty solid option. And then here Cruelty, because we have an AoE attack, so this slowly we're going to be lowering the defense of the enemies. There's other options. We could have gone for even Brimstone for PvE content. Nature's Wrath no, because he doesn't apply any debuffs. Heaven Cast, I mean, his role is not dealing damage. Lightning Cage could have been a pretty also interesting, another interesting blessing, fully booked over here. And in terms of masteries, a bit of more defensive, increasing his heals, and over here chance of counter-attacking, extra defense, and so on. So pretty solid. In terms of final stats, you saw it before. In terms of sets and so on, defense with HP. Here I have an resistance chest. This is because, I mean, I just wanted to put it a bit more. I'm pretty solid in HP, pretty solid on defense. It could be either of the two as well, defense or HP, or even resistance. And over here, speed with speed. Banner defense could have also been resistance, and then here a bit more HP and a bit more of HP with defense. So this is pretty solid build. Then we start getting onto the two that are going to be a bit more complicated to get. In one hand, we had Raphael. He is the hardest hitting turtle. His role is very similar to Michelangelo, except for the debuffs. He's able to apply one debuff, and is to himself, and is Berserk, which is this one over here, which basically is going to be enhancing and improving his own damage. The whole way that Raphael works is he hits pretty hard. He's probably the one with the hardest multipliers after Leonardo. Leonardo is insane. But we're able to apply Block Revive, which is going to be very powerful. We're going to also able to apply shield and block damage to himself, which is going to help him survive the Berserk. And Killable, sorry, he's going to be able to apply himself. He were ignoring block damage and shield. This one is the skill that's going to allow him to survive. And then again, passively, anytime an enemy attacks, or anytime an ally turtle attacks, he's going to be joining. And if he hits, Block Revive is really, really powerful. In terms of Blessing, Lightning Cage, we could have gone for even have a 6-star Crushing Rend, could be also a valid, solid one. Even Soul Rip could also be pretty useful. In terms of relics, there is a lot we could use. I've gone for Malefic Talon just because it's a rare one, and you'll probably have a lot of these laying around. But we can choose any other that will work well with increasing our damage. For example, we could go with Stormcaller, we could go with Core Crescent, we could go this one no, because we're not able to apply any debuffs, so this is not very useful. We could go with Cat's Gaze, also ignoring extra defense, so it's pretty solid. We could go with the Essence Quencher, again also increasing damage, so anything that is able to increase our damage is gonna work pretty good on him. And in terms of set, I mean, ideally it would be a 9-piece Merciless. I don't have these 2 pieces, I don't have anything good, I don't have any crit damage, I don't have any attack banner. but you get the idea. Full damage, crit damage here, a bit of more crit rate, attack with attack, speed with more attack, and the final stats 7500, 98% crit rate, 201 speed, 348 crit damage, and resistance and accuracy doesn't really matter much because we're not applying any debuffs or anything special. Like I mentioned, we've seen already the blessing, and the masteries you can see over here, pretty standard damage dealer that doesn't need accuracy. And then finally, the crown, the jewel of the crown, which is Leonardo. Like I mentioned, he's the leader of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the series as well. He's like the most wise, the older one, and in this case he's like dressed like a samurai. That's why he's in the Shadow King faction. In terms of gear, he's pretty well geared. I think this was similar to the gear I had on my Alath, my mythical, so it's a pretty solid gear. You can see here in terms of stats, 8748 defense because it's a defense-based damage dealer, 229 speed, crit damage, crit rate, accuracy and resistance, we don't care. His role is dealing damage, a lot of damage, and you're gonna see the insane amount of damage he does. And in terms of relic, Wand of Submission, because of his A3, this is gonna be able to remove all the buffs from all the enemies, and this could potentially trigger polymorph if we're using it in arena. So Wand of Submission is a tricky one, but in case they're trying to apply any polymorph, we can reflect it back. If we're not gonna go to arena with the turtles, you can remove it and you can add the same ones as we've seen for Raphael. Anything able to increase our damage, we could go with Hammer of Ending, we could go with Purge Shadow, we could go with Essence Quencher, we could go with Cat's Gaze, we could go with Gore Crescent, we can choose a lot of different Malefic Talon, we can choose a lot of different ones. In terms of skills fully booked, Blessing, Crushing Rend, again you don't need 100% Crushing Rend, it's good, and especially if it's 6 stars, I would recommend Crushing Rend, but you could also go with Soul Reap, you could go with Phantom Touch, I don't see why, Heaven Cast you could also go as well. In terms of masteries, these ones over here, and the key skill that we're gonna see and that we have to keep an eye for is this A3. Attacks all enemies, the damage inflicted by this skill increases by 5% for each buff on all allies and enemies, and then removes this, and this effect cannot be resisted. If we're going with the rest of the turtles, we're going to be ignoring 15% damage, 15% defense, which means with other 3 turtles, we're going to be ignoring 45 extra enemy defense. So powerful. And then here, increase the damage dealt by this skill in proportion to this damage missing HP. If he's down 50% HP, you're gonna deal another 50% on top of that, and activates this skill whenever an ally is dropped below 50%, which is very, very powerful. And also something that we'll see quite often is this Stone Skin proccing. Places Stone Skin every time this champion goes below 50%, and it's very interesting because it doesn't have any cooldown, so we can be proccing it constant. So now we've seen the turtles, we've seen more or less the interesting things, the good things, the bad things. Now it's time to see them in action, and they're amazing. I mean, all 4 of them, you can do literally any content with 4 of them, not more or less. For example, we get to Ice Peaks Golem hard 10, only with the 4 of them. Why with the 4 of them? And normally this is a dungeon that we need to be quite tanky, we need to be able to apply HP burn, we need to be able to activate that HP burn, so we're going to be dealing a lot of damage to the enemies, but this is what I wanted to show you. No matter which skill we're going to use, for example now in this case we're going with Donatello, no matter which skill we use, if it's an A1, if it's an A2, if it's an A3, whoever we attack, and you can see the damage is not too bad, means it's not just the attack of the champion hitting, it's damage from everyone. And this is what is pretty insane. We do an A1 on Sir Nicholas, and it's like, okay, 200k, and almost another 200k, and 134k will start accumulating, and just a simple A1 can go up to 500, 600, 700k damage just because of the amount of hits that all of the turtles are doing for free without any kind of cooldown, which is pretty insane. So here you can see I'm just doing A1s, and literally we're downing every single enemy and we still have turtles without attacking. So it's pretty insane. For example, with A2 you can see the AoE hit is Donatello, so it doesn't hit too hard, but then the rest of the turtles join the attack, and no matter who I'm attacking, they're all going down. Again, double hitter, down. This is Raphael. Let's try this triple hitter that is pretty powerful. You can see triple hitter almost 100,000k and also all the extra hits, which is insane. And then one of the most powerful skills, that is what I wanted to show you, which is this one here. Right now we don't have much, we only have two buffs, so it's gonna be plus 10% extra damage over here, and then another 30% in reduced damage, and we don't have any, we're not losing any HP, but this is the skill that is going to hit by a stupid amount, 314, and we don't have any buffs. So I'm going to put it just full auto, just so you can see more or less how this works, because it's crazy, and we're going to start seeing massive chunks of the health of the golem just going down, like zoom, zoom, going like super fast. And this is because Leonardo's A3, and the more buffs we start accumulating, the more hits or the harder we're going to be hitting. So let's get rid of these two minions first, and then as soon as it throws an A3, you're going to see the life of the boss going down by a lot. And let's try to see exactly what's the amount of damage that is able to deal. I'm going to get rid of the minions first, and you can see one attacks, everyone attacks. Now I think someone attacked the golem a bit too early, maybe for my liking. Let's target this guy, get rid of that guy first. Now down. And should be Leonardo's turn. This is A1, this is A1, this is A1. Let's see, Leonardo give me an A3. Let me, and heals back pretty easily, pretty crazy, because the enemy has this leech. Double hitter, and there we go, 500k, 900k, all across the board, just because of the amount of buffs, and this starts scaling off. I mean, this gets pretty crazy. Then when we see Dragon, it's going to be a pretty similar interaction. We're going to be hitting the Dragon by a stupid amount of damage. We can see we're applying so many buffs. We're getting continuous heals, we're getting increased attack, we're getting shields, we're getting increased defense, we're getting the ally protections. I mean, we're getting pretty much every defensive buff, every offensive buff to be able to tank the amount of damage. And see if we can see another of Leonardo's A3, which is pretty insane, and he's gonna get rid of everything if he hits. Didn't get to hit, but you can see like we're only on 35 turns, 36 turns, and it's so crazy because when one turtle attacks, all the turtles attack, and it starts accumulating damage, and it goes pretty crazy. You can see here, I don't have any revivers, I don't have any, maybe I could have used some reviver here, no problem. Leonardo is going to be able to just to get them down, hopefully. You should. I have 2 turns here, you can see 1.4 million. I mean, 14 million Leonardo on his own. So it's pretty crazy, just the combination of all 4, and especially Leonardo is the most busted of all 4. So now you've seen Ice Golem without any sort of decreased defense. Well, decreased defense, I think we had 1, but without any sort of HP burn, no poisons, nothing, just raw damage. Same exact thing with Golem. I think this is Dragon 10 hard. Same exact thing. I'm gonna quickly jump to the boss. You're gonna see the amount of damage that we're gonna deal to the boss in no time. We don't need any poison, we don't need anything else. You're gonna see how crazy this team is. And we got to the boss in 1 minute time and turn count 16. So we're gonna start applying buffs, and I just want you to see every massive chunk that we deal to the dragon and how much damage that is. Here he just applies a lot of buffs. The dragon attacks us, no problem. Again, 1 attack means 4 attacks, and most of these attacks are multi-hitters, so I'm pretty sure it will be even pretty easy to take down the Fire Knight. Is also probably going to be very easy to take down, to destroy the shield and to do a lot of damage inside. See, now double hitter, almost 300k by Leonardo, and there we go, 1.2 million, easy. We're not in danger at any time, we're not receiving too much damage. Donatello is here to tank and to heal all the allies, and you can see it again, it accumulates. It's not too much, 5k, 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 but it's constantly healing, so we're gonna put in all our turtles back into health, all with a lot of buffs. And here you can see Dragon Hard 10, easy without any trouble. 10 turns, which is pretty insane. 30 turns, which is pretty insane. It goes very, very fast in terms of turns, just because all the multi-hits. And it gets even crazier, like if we go to harder dungeons, Phantom Shogun's Grove, again, these 4 guys, they're gonna be able to do it. It's a bit trickier because here the boss is gonna block our passives, which means the counterattacks are not gonna be working. But as soon as we go through 3 turns and this block passives disappears, that's it. Is all done. We can also have a taunt here to kind of force the boss to attack Michelangelo in this case. We have Unkillable using 400k just from Leonardo hitting, and as soon as we start losing the block passives, we have already 2 turtles that have lost it, so 2 turtles joining all the attacks. Now we'll have a 3rd turtle, there we go, one joining, another one joining, full auto. We don't have any problems, we don't have any risks, we're not about to die. It makes our life super easy. Any boss, early game, mid game, late game, super easy to deal. Like, this would be unthinkable a couple of months ago. Just 4 champions that combine all of them together, being able to full auto, stage 25, Shogun, just 4 champions. I mean, we could even add a chicken there to level up champions. I mean, we don't even need them all. But it's pretty crazy what they're able to do. In terms of Sun Devil Necropolis, I tried on the 25. They didn't make it, just because the boss, this A3 from the boss is pretty nasty and it deals a lot of damage. But we were able to take the boss up to like this down. Basically, what saves this boss is the mechanic that in order for you to deal damage to the boss, he needs to be sleeping. And he will also go to sleep after hitting us with the A3, with this Festing Swarm, which he's gonna do now, and he's gonna be dealing a lot of damage, and we don't have any turtle able to revive. If we would bring in this team a reviver, I mean another champion able to just put him back to life, we would be able to do a lot of things. I mean, you can see almost 1/3 of the health. We still there hitting by crazy, even if the boss is awake, it doesn't matter. We hit by a stupid amount of damage. I'm sure we could do some sort of setup here with some, revive on death, with some Cardiel or some Sky Touch Shaman, something like that. I'm sure we'll be able to get a setup going for the 25. This is just plug and play for turtles, and you can see they're getting quite a lot of work done. I mean, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do this, but like you can see, they're able to go through. I mean, we're missing 1 turtle. In this case, it's a bit of a shame. Could have added another champion, but you can see that this gets quite a lot of work done. We only need, a reviver or a sleep here or something like that in order to be able to put this boss to sleep. Now they killed another one, 323k. Maybe we're gonna be lucky and we deal a lot of damage. There we go, a little bit more counter-attacking, and we're gonna get rid of the boss. There you go. Full auto, only 4 champions, without even any reviver or anything special. So it's the similar idea for the 25. We just need a bit more of tweaking and bring alongside another extra champion. So it's pretty crazy. They can do literally any dungeon, all 4 of them, full auto without looking. The same goes for, Curse City, they're gonna be amazing. Siege, probably gonna be interesting. Doom Tower, they're gonna do whatever they want. Even for Clan Boss, I'll show you the choice I did before. Here we have one setup. This is with Leonardo, which is the most OP of the turtles. In this case, 6 stars. I'm not showing it with 6, I'm only showing it with 5. But you can see here, probably these 2 are going to be dealing crazy amounts of damage. I tried some setups, and just Lilith, just in case someone died, to revive them. Is unkillable. I mean, they last all 50 turns. The amount of damage is more than enough. I mean, I think it was 200 and something each key. Pretty easy, pretty solid. We don't even need to worry about the clan boss anymore. Same with the Hydra. It depends also which setup. For example, this is Hydra Nightmare. So let's do a quick battle. 4 turtles and Lilitu. We're missing a lot of rolls here. We're missing probably some... See, 339, just full auto without even looking. Leonardo, of course, top MVP, but as you can see, Lilitu is just here to revive in case someone dies. We would be missing here not a taunt, a provoke. We would be missing here probably some block buffs. We would be missing a couple of keys, a couple of things, but as you can see, they're also even good to work in Hydra. This is Hydra Nightmare. For Hydra Brutal, more of the same. See for how long they last and how many millions they deal. They just last there, 390 million, all 4 of them. In this case, we got a lot of damage from Leo, from Raphael, and from Mikey, so obviously it's going to be depending on which setup. It's going to be depending on what kind of champions you have, but as you can see, all 4 of them, they're incredibly versatile, they're incredibly powerful. You can put them pretty much anywhere, except I'd say on Arena. On Arena, I mean, they're probably useful, they're also probably good. The problem on Arena is that you either need all the turtles with stone skin to be able to at least absorb all that the enemy is doing, survive, and then counter attack and hopefully kill the enemy, or you need to start cutting on turtles by adding other roles, because none of the turtles is able to fill the role of, I don't know, of Armans or Fabian or Warlord, some sort of, and we need to stop the enemy. Also, none of them has an aura for speed, so none of them is really like a starter champion to be able to go first on Arena and hence attack the enemies and get rid of them, so it's going to be also a bit tricky. But as you can see, pretty much every content, PvE, every dungeon becomes obsolete if we had the 4 turtles well geared. They just do whatever. Full auto, super easy. So I think this is going to be a big change for the game. Let me know what you think of this 4 combo of hell down there in the comments. Over here, I'll leave a recommended video. Thanks a lot for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.